Hello everyone, Dodge here again, and continuing on with our journey through my time so far playing Magic competitively. Next up, Eldridge Moon. This set was particularly cool. I think everyone saw the twist coming that Emrakul was invading Innistrad. I don't think anybody was surprised by that, but the flavor was awesome, and we got some cool mechanics, especially Meld was really interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I just thought that this was a fun set, maybe not a great draft environment, maybe not one that lended itself to changing a whole lot of formats, but there was some really cool stuff. Emrakul herself was particularly awesome. And she did a lot of really great things for Standard, or a lot of really bad things for Standard, maybe, considering how that whole thing went with her getting banned and whatnot. And it brought back more transform cards, especially transforming into Eldrazi. That's just so interesting to me. I really liked this. I would love to see Emrakul come back from the moon. The story was just awesome for any problems that the set had as far as not being like a top tier limited set. It did have some really cool lore, and I enjoyed it a lot. Before Eldritch Moon, we got Eternal Masters, and this was, hands down, one of my favorite Master sets to draft. It was kind of presented as like a Legacy Masters set, and it definitely hit the mark there. You know, so many good things were in it. Jace, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, I believe, was in here as well, and it was a great set. I think that this lived up to the hype. Young Peasy, just a cool fucking card there. Brainstorm, another cool card. Wrath of God, ooh, shiny Mystical Tutor. Yeah, and the artwork for the tutors in this set was phenomenal. I really liked what they did with this and Enlightened Tutor. It was just a good time all around. The draft environment was fine. It was more than fine. It was a lot of fun. Maybe not as good as previous Master sets, but thoroughly enjoyable. Now, Shadows over Innistrad was really enjoyable as well. Again, not a fantastic limited environment, but a fine one. And cool mechanics, cool flavor, cool lore, great story. Investigate was really fun. Unruly Mob, this card was such a bomb. Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, sorry, I just got up a little bit ago. Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, this was such a value card in Limited. Vessel of Nascency, just a kind of weird common that did a lot of things in Standard at the time. Uncaged Fury was a big bomb in Limited. Just a lot of things going on here that were really enjoyable, really fun. Corrupted Graphstone, I don't remember this doing anything in any constructed formats, but it was definitely great to see in Limited. Uninvited Geist, I think, was one of my favorite cards from the set as far as drafting goes. 2/2 for 3 is fine. A 3/3 that can't be blocked is even better. And the Skulk mechanic was really interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that it's probably like a B- in terms of limited sets, but it was interesting. I had fun with it. I liked it a lot. Oath of the Gatewatch. This was about the point where people kind of started questioning what Wizards was doing as far as Masterpiece cards. I know I, for one, was early on questioning how they were going to keep doing expeditions, things like that, inventions, whatever, while having so many in each set. And as we know now, they're not doing that for every set anymore. But they have branched onto other things like the collector's boosters, the special frames that we saw in Eldraine, that we're going to see in Theros Beyond Death, and Devoid Devour, Ingest, all the cool common, uncommon Eldrazi. This made up for the fact that Battle for Zendikar was a terrible draft environment. Green was basically just unplayable in that format. Flaying Tendrils, such cool artwork. The promo has cool artwork too. Here's a Hedron alignment. I know a lot of people at the time were trying to do something with this, but it never really panned out. I think I saw one person actually pull this off in Limited, but I never saw anybody get this going in constructed formats. It was fine though. It was fun, it was interesting, and again, it did a lot to make up for the problems that Battle for Zendikar had, because Battle for Zendikar did have some problems. Again, green was just unplayable in this set. Mage Strider, I remember playing a lot of these in draft. Sludge Crawler, again, something I played a lot of in Limited. Tightsail Scout, fine. Sandstone Bridge, fine. Whatever. Cloud Manta, fine. Scour from Existence. Oh, I cast way too many of those. Yeah, Forerunner Slaughter. This is just a nostalgia walk for me, because I did draft this a lot, even if it wasn't great. But it was interesting enough, and it gave us, in this set, things like Shambling Vent. We did get to finally see the other half of these two-color man lands, and you know what? Some of them still hold up. Hissing Quagmire sees play in Pioneer, Shambling Vent sees play in Pioneer, Lumbering Fall sees play in Pioneer. There was even that Wandering Fumarole deck in Standard at the time, which was like a combo deck where you just activate, and get a huge army. And it was interesting. It wasn't fantastic, but it was interesting enough, and you know what? I'm okay with that. Oh, hi, Polly. You might be able to hear the kitty cat in the background, who just got fed and somehow thinks she needs more food. Magic Origins. This was touted as the last core set. Looking back, we know that that's not the case, because we have core sets back. But this was cool. We got to see the Flipwalkers showing their origins, and we got to see some cool planes that we hadn't seen before by the way of those cards. And a lot of places that players are happy to see coming in the future, and some kind of cool previews of what was to come. We know that we've been back to Dominaria so far, and when Liliana came out in this set, I know a lot of people were excited that we might go back to Dominaria. I wasn't sure that we would, but we did. Spell Mastery was one of those things that was really interesting. It's just a cool mechanic. Did a lot of good things at the time. This set also gave us Jace, who, I mean, Jace Friend's Prodigy on the checklist card there. And that card started out, I think it was pre-ordering for like $5-10, something like that. And eventually it worked its way up to over $100 in Standard. And while that was kind of problematic at the time, it was interesting. I know some people who made some money on that card. I know some people who lost some money on that card. But, you know, it was really interesting. That was the first time in a long time that we had seen a card worth that much money in a standard format. And the draft environment was okay, but standard was really where that got pushed. Coming after Khans of Tarkir, having access to fetch lands and 3-color tap lands, all that stuff. There were a lot of interesting decks. I was playing Jeskai Black at the time, Dark Jeskai, whatever you want to call it, and Jace was a big part of that deck. Before Origins, we had these fucking things. This Modern Masters 2015 came in these weird cardboard packs. So many people had so many issues with this because cards were coming up damaged. They were awkward. It was weird packaging. And this was not the worst Masters set, but definitely kind of bottom barrel when it comes to Masters sets. This was not what people were hoping it would be. And drafting it was okay, but if you were trying to open these packs or boxes for money, you really were having a bad time with it most of the time. Good reprints. Cool stuff in it, but again, this was really not the set that you wanted to be buying into. I do remember Endrick Sar being busted in draft because holy shit, you could just make so many thralls, especially when there's so many expensive creatures in the set. Things like Cumulox. Cumulox? I don't fucking know how you say that, but it was interesting. It was bad. It was a bad master set. Let's just leave that at that. And we've only got 3 more packs for this video. We're going to dive into Dragons of Tarkir, another set that just had such interesting lore, so many cool things going on with it. The time travel storyline with Sarkin, rewriting the battle between Ugin and Nicol Bolas, just a lot of cool things, and I think this was kind of a jump-off point for the Gatewatch, even though the Gatewatch wasn't really a thing then. It seemed like this is where the storyline started to get wild, and it was building up to what we now know has been just a huge thing. The commands in this set were a big deal. This was a big part of the heroic deck. I was playing a lot of Silumgar's and Ojutai's commands. But this whole block was interesting. Fate Reforged, I think probably the weakest set out of the 3. But still a fun limited environment. There's a Gurmag Angler right up front. This was the point where we saw Delve come back in a big way. And, I mean, stuff like this, Treasure Cruise, Dig Through Time, just kind of blew people out of the water. It changed the face of Standard and Modern and even Legacy and Vintage for a while. Goblin Heel Cutter, I cast so many of those stupid things. This was kind of a weird point for me personally because I spent weeks and weeks going undefeated in Khans of Tarkir drafts just by forcing Jeskai. Look, stay open when you're drafting, alright? Stay open. Don't marry your first pick. But if you're drafting Khans of Tarkir, let me fucking tell you, you can just force Jeskai and you're going to have a really good time because Jeskai has the highest density of any of the clans of playable commons and uncommons, especially a Freet Weapon Master, things like Mardu Horde Chief, the Raid mechanic, even this guy, Inoc Trapper's not bad. But this was just an amazing set. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Probably more so than any other standard draft environment. Monastery Swiftspear was a big deal. Altar of the Brood. This was part of another combo deck in standard. We got fetch lands back. And I will say that this was the point where I started speculating, I started investing in cards, and that was a great place to be doing that. Fetch lands, you could buy them left and right for like $5 to $10 a piece. And I know some people held on to theirs a little bit too long and they didn't really make a whole lot of money off of it. But there was a point where those cards skyrocketed to like $20, $30 a piece. And, you know, if you cashed out early, you did just fine. So that's going to be it for this video. We've got one more coming up, walking our way back to when I got into Magic competitively at Return to Ravnica. I know these are kind of rambling, not really the best quality videos, but they're fun for me. I want to tell this story, and I will see you all in the next one, or this guy here will see you in the next one.